Robert.
Yo, what's shaking AC?
Well, I'll tell you what was shaking was my feet when I went into the ocean with my Control V socks on. I was hoping they would keep me warm, but I don't think they're really meant for ocean swimming. But
Yeah.
anyway, they were very comfy and warm before I went in.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed them. It seems like a lot of people seem to enjoy them online, which is fantastic.
I don't know. I feel like you started a trend or something, or like all of a sudden everyone gets Control V socks. And then like a week or two later, there's all these other people sending out socks. And I have to, I'd like to admit though, that I sent out socks to people, but I did it in a more quiet way because it was client gifts. So I didn't get I didn't create the buzz that you created. That was super cool.
Well, I was just trying to live up to my reputation as the sock fairy, so I think maybe that worked.
Who thinks of you as the sock fairy? Everyone now, I guess.
Yeah. Listen, let's get down to business here, because I want to give a whole bunch of praise and shout out to you for this incredible roundtable you had last week. Actually, there was two of them, but one specifically about ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. Like, not only was the roundtable like hugely well attended, like over 100 people there, and you had Dan Monaghan speaking at it, and it had some fantastic information, but it also, like, it just sort of caters to your brand as being so progressive and talking about things when nobody else is talking about them. I sit on roundtables and people are sitting there saying, how do I use Facebook? I'm like, guys, that's like a question that's 10 years old. Like, you need to know that like the back of your hand right now and be thinking about the next thing.
Yeah, don't you love people who are still talking about like COVID times? Like,
oh
why
my
are
God.
we talking about what happened 2 years ago? Like, yes, we might learn some things from it, but like, can we move on?
Yeah, when I hear like a panelist or somebody say, let's talk about the support you gave your franchisees during COVID, I politely eject myself from the conversation. I'm like, wake up, dude.
Anyway. Yeah, I think we need to move on. We need to be thinking forward. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, it actually came about in a really kind of organic way. And what happened was I was just chatting back and forth with Dan, and he was talking about this session that he's going to be running at the IFA, and one thing led to another, and I was like, well, do you want to come talk in advance at one of our roundtables? Because people would love to hear it, and not everybody can go to the IFA, and we can do it as a sneak peek. And so he was excited to be able to do that and run people through what he's been working on. And I was surprised we had over 100 people come through. Like I think there were maybe 120 people that came through and checked it out. And so we recorded it, and I'm excited about what ChatGPT can do, what AI can do. What I liked about the roundtable was that it is. We talked so much more about like beyond just kind of ChatGPT, and went into like all the other uses for it. It's funny how just now everywhere you go, you just hear about it. So I would love to know some of I know you're already quite tuned in. This is your kind, you are always ahead of the curve when it comes to anything tech, tech or sort of anything really. I mean, whether it was TikTok or the socks, the sock fairy, you're always one step ahead. So wondering if you got what you got out of that roundtable. And just side note, if anybody's listening and you're like, I kind of want to hear about this more, they can reach out to me at angelacote.com to get a copy of the roundtable recording. But yeah, what stood out for you from that roundtable?
Well, I think ChatGPT specifically aside, and just referring to artificial intelligence on its own, right? It reminds me a lot of like virtual reality. VR has been around for 30 or 40 years now. It's not until somebody like us created a virtual reality arcade that it started to get trendy. And the same thing with artificial intelligence. People have been working on this for decades. And I guess there's a, it's debatable as what constitutes artificial intelligence, because, some of it really isn't generative and it isn't machine learning, like Siri or Alexa is technically artificial intelligence. In fact, that little stupid paperclip that would show up on Word in the 90s that would help you. I mean, maybe that's AI as well.
That little guy he had like little cute eyes that would go up and down.
Yeah. And so now that there's more advancements in computer technology that makes artificial intelligence more robust, people are starting to chime in and tune in. And so ChatGPT is the one that everyone's always thinking about. So I thought it was great to kind of hear the history and all this sort of stuff. Also, the uses, I find so much oftentimes in franchising, when people hear about artificial intelligence, the first thing they think about is how can this be used in marketing? They think about like copy and SEO, but that's so reductive. Like there's so much more that can be done with this outside of the marketing realm, in ops, in legal, in all that sort of stuff. So it's nice for Dan to kind of show that off. And I think that's what blew people away. And even beyond the ChatGPT, when you get into the other types of artificial intelligence like DALL-E 2 that does image creation for you.
Mid-Journey.
Yeah, we've been using artificial intelligence to write copy at Control V for almost a year now, and it's every time it gets better and better, right? I mean, you have to review it and things along those lines, but there's different tools. Like I see ChatGPT as the type of AI that does problem solving. If you need a code written and you don't know how to write code, that will solve that problem. But there is other types of AI for image creation, for note taking, for video create. Like you could take right now, you could take a celebrity and it would mimic their voice, it would mimic the movement of their mouth, and they can read your script. Even that was around for a long time, like deep fakes, if you remember those things, right? So now a lot of it's sort of coming to fruition, which is great to see everyone so interested in it.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was that same day or the day after, randomly, just a guy in my office was reconciling his bookkeeping through ChatGPT. He had like uploaded, I'll have to show you that. He was like, he had uploaded PDFs of like the statements and stuff. Like it was nuts. And like Stephen, our COO at AC Inc., I couldn't get him to stop using ChatGPT for everything after that. He's like, wait a minute, what else can we use this for? And so I think what's really important is what you just said, like, to think beyond just the obvious uses for it. One of the big key takeaways, Dan Monaghan actually came and did a smaller version at our franchise marketing roundtable. And one of the big themes there is that the marketers aren't necessarily, they're not going to be replaced by AI. They're going to be replaced by people that know how to write for AI, like that know how to do the right
prompt engineers. Yeah.
Prompt engineers. And then Dan even showed us, like, look on Fiverr, where you can see that you can hire people that know how to do it, like, already. Like,
exactly. I was having a phone conversation with Dan, and I was like, this reminds me a lot of the agricultural revolution, when people were working in the fields and they said, oh no, somebody created a tractor that's going to take my job. Well, no, you now need people to build the tractor, to repair the tractor, to operate the tractor, to sell the tractor. It just created a structural unemployment versus frictional, and so you just have to change your skill set to work with that.
Yeah, there's definitely pros and cons. Like there's some things that are scary about it, but there's some things that are going to make our lives easier. I think we're going to look back and we're all going to be like, oh my gosh, we can't imagine the world without it. But what was one other key takeaway or thing that stood out? Anything else? I think
one thing that stood out to me, and I don't know if this was explicitly said or anything like that, but a lot of people right now, when thinking about AI, they're thinking about how they can use it to make their current world easier, or outsource it, or more cost affordable, or whatever, right? And I find that the market is going to come to that conclusion on its own. I'm starting to think about how AI can be used to do things that we aren't thinking about yet, and how I can jump on that train, right? Thinking about how can AI be used to write marketing copy? That's yesterday's news. Somebody's really working on that. I got to think about something else.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm going to hang out with you until you figure that out and try to get on that bandwagon.
Yeah.
It's fun to see the people that are getting all into this, for sure, too, like different random. I noticed at the roundtable that there were a lot of people that were familiar, but they were still blown away by Dan's way of presenting. So that was pretty awesome. I wonder what ChatGPT would say about go be awesome.
Well, we should ask it.
Okay.
I guess that's the pronoun, right?
Let's just tell it. Let's just tell it right now. Ready? 3, 2,
1. Go be awesome.